Rediscovery isn't a linear process. Like I said earlier, I went through rediscovery as a mom, and now I'm going through it all over again as a single mom and trying to rediscover who I am outside of a 20-year relationship. Some days will feel harder than others. It's a dance of, 3 steps forward, 10 steps back. Welcome to Strong as a Mother podcast that empowers moms to choose themselves and leave the mom guilt behind so they can step into the most confident versions of themselves. We are saying goodbye to the back burner and hello to strength, nourishment, and self-acceptance. We're no longer chasing the smallest versions of ourselves. Hi, I'm Miranda, fitness coach and mom of 2. Join me for some lighthearted chats and practical tips and resources that you can integrate into your life as a busy mom. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to remind you that this is a safe place for all parents, all moms. Whether you are a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, a single mom, a dad playing both roles, this is your community. This is a safe place, and we're here to support each other, share our experiences, and grow together. So let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Strong as a Mother podcast. I am so excited to have you back for another episode, and this one is all for those mamas who don't really know who they are outside of the title mom. And I feel like this topic is pretty close to my heart because it's a topic about reconnecting with the identity that you had before becoming a mom. I feel like this is a challenge that so many moms face, myself included. So I want to ask you, when was the last time that you thought about who you were outside of being mom? For years, I felt like my entire world revolved around my kids. And while I love them endlessly, I started to notice that I really didn't know who I was anymore. I had hobbies, I had dreams, and I had goals before becoming a mom. And not that I don't have goals now or didn't have goals, I just kind of forgot who I was. And over time, who I was kind of seemed to fade into the background. If you've ever felt like that, I want you to know that you're not alone. And today we're going to kind of dive into that and talk about maybe why it happens and why it is so important to reconnect with yourself and how you can start doing it today. I want you to kind of take a moment and visualize your life before becoming a mom. Picture a time where you were maybe pursuing your passions freely. Maybe you loved dancing. Maybe you loved reading. Maybe you loved traveling. Maybe you were just someone who stayed up late and sketched ideas or spent time creating this big vision for your life and for your future. Now think about your current life. How much space do those things take up now? For so many of us, the answer is not much. So I kind of wanted to share my own story that kind of encapsulates this feeling of loss, because that's what it kind of felt like to me. There's been so many times where my children went away and I had time all to myself, especially after becoming a single mom, when they would leave and I would have no idea what to do with myself. And it felt like it was the weirdest feeling ever. I had the house to myself and I was all excited about it, to have this free time and some time for me. I could literally do anything I wanted. But as the hours kind of ticked by, I found myself wandering aimlessly and I really had no idea what to do. And I couldn't even remember what I enjoyed or what I liked to do outside of being with my kids every day. And it was kind of like a realization that hit me pretty hard. I had spent so many years prioritizing everybody else and what they wanted that I had forgot what I wanted and what I liked. I had completely forgotten how to prioritize myself. I know that I'm not the only one that experiences this. We devote so much of our lives to our children, and because we love them so deeply, and we take on endless tasks and we have sleepless nights, and we hold the emotional labor of holding our families together. We are the glue. But somewhere along the line of prioritizing everybody else, we begin to lose ourselves. We start to lose touch with the unique individual that we are or once were. And it's not something that happens, it's not intentional. It happens gradually. Before we know it, we're literally standing in the middle of our lives wondering where we went. But society also often reinforces this self-sacrifice. We're told that a good mom puts her family first at all costs. We're praised for being selfless and tireless. But the truth is that this kind of self-neglect is not sustainable. And it's not just harmful to us, it affects our families too. When we lose ourselves, we lose some of the vibrancy and creativity and the joy that we bring into our homes that make us amazing moms. So the journey of rediscovering yourself isn't just about self-care or, fleeting moments of peace. It's about something so much deeper. It's about really honoring the person that you were before motherhood and embracing the person that you are becoming. And also creating space for the person and mom that you want to be. This journey isn't about turning back the clock. It's about bringing the pieces of yourself all together to make you whole, so you can live a exciting and vibrant life that feels fulfilling and authentic. So as we kind of move through today's episode, I just want to encourage you to kind of approach this topic with curiosity and an open heart. You might feel like a little bit of guilt as you think of prioritizing yourself, because it's completely natural for us to feel that way. But I want you to gently set that aside for the duration of this episode, because this journey isn't selfish. It's absolutely necessary. When you thrive, your family thrives too. So in today's discussion, you can expect by us talking about exploring the loss of identity and like how it happens. And we'll talk about the importance of reconnecting to yourself, not just for your sake, but your kids' sake, your family's sake. And from there, I'm going to give you some practical tips or steps that you can take to rediscover the things that make you feel alive. And then finally, we will dive into some strategies for overcoming the guilt that comes with it, because it will. We always feel some sort of guilt for prioritizing ourselves. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you're going to feel inspired and empowered and ready to take the first step into rediscovering the incredible human that you are beyond the title of mom. So this isn't just about reclaiming your identity. It's about feeling a life that feels rich, joyful, and uniquely yours. So grab a cup of coffee, a protein shake, a cup of tea, whatever floats your boat, and let's dive into this beautiful journey together. I would say that motherhood is like this all-encompassing role. From the moment that we hold our child the very first time, it feels like our entire being shifts to center around our baby and their needs. And society often reinforces this by praising mothers who are selfless and tireless. And while this is super well intentioned, it creates an unhealthy expectation. Sacrificing everything for our children, our time, our dreams, our sense of self, it has become the norm, and we're left wondering where the woman that we used to be has gone. For me, the realization kind of hit slowly. And I remember one day when the kids were at school, and I had this rare moment of free time. And I tried to think about what I wanted to do with that time. I completely drew a blank. I had spent so many years putting everybody else before myself that I no longer knew who Miranda was. I no longer knew what brought me joy. And it was a heartbreaking realization. And I actually went through this realization again after ending an over 20-year relationship. But I know so many people have felt this way. And the loss, it doesn't just happen overnight. It's gradual. It's a result of years of putting yourself last and your desires on hold, or saying maybe later to all of your dreams and ambitions. And cultural and generational expectations only add weight to this. How many of you grew up hearing, stories of your mothers or your grandmothers who gave it all for their families? Everything they did, they sacrificed for their family, including, not taking care of themselves. And while those sacrifices were made out of love, they also send a message that to be a good mom, you must be so selfless to the point of completely forgetting yourself. And this message is deeply ingrained into so many mothers, but it's time to challenge that, because things are changing. And loving your children fiercely does not mean losing yourself in the process. Historically, women's roles have been defined by their ability to nurture and to care for others. And this narrative has been passed down through generations and generations, really shaping the way that we view ourselves as mothers. In so many ways, motherhood is seen as this pinnacle of a woman's life. It's a role that should be all consuming, all defining. And while there is absolutely nothing wrong with embracing motherhood as like a central part of your being, the problem arises when it becomes everything. And then modern parenting adds like another whole layer of complexity to this. We live in a world of social media. We're bombarded with messages about what it means to be the perfect mom. Social media is filled with these images of mothers that seem to have it all together, spotless homes, gourmet cooked dinners for their families, perfectly behaved children. And these curated portrayals can create this unrealistic standard, leaving some moms feeling like they are falling short. And in our quest to measure up and hold ourselves up against others, because a lot of people and a lot of moms struggle with comparison, we pour more and more and more of ourselves into our families, trying to keep up with others, often at the expense of our own well-being. But this isn't just like a societal issue either. This is deeply personal. For so many of us, becoming a mother is a completely transformative experience. It makes us feel like our old selves are no longer relevant. We prioritize our children's needs as we should, but in the process, we forget that our needs matter too. And we forget that we're still individuals with passions, with talents, with emotions, with dreams. The disconnect between who we are and who we want to be can feel completely overwhelming. And it's as if we've been handed this new identity, mom, and we're told to just leave the rest behind. But the truth is, your identity as a mom is just a part of who you are. It's a very important part, but it doesn't erase all the other pieces of you that make you you. And these pieces are still there waiting to be rediscovered. Think about a time when you actually did something purely for yourself. Was it last week? Was it last month? Was it last year? Do you even remember the last time? This isn't about blame or guilt. It's about bringing awareness, recognizing the patterns that have led to this loss of self is really the first step in reclaiming who you are. I want you to know that it's okay to feel the weight of this realization because it is quite heavy. I went through it as being a mom, but like I said earlier, I'm also going through it again being a single mom and leaving a 20-year relationship. It's okay to feel the sadness, but I also want you to feel hope out of this because it's really exciting. And no matter, how far you feel removed from your identity, it's never too late to reconnect with yourself. This journey takes time and there's different seasons of it and it's never linear, but it's definitely a journey worth taking. And it's not just for yourself, it's for your family. And it's for everybody who loves you. Rediscovering yourself isn't just about self-care, it's about self-preservation. It's about self-expression. As mothers, we often internalize the feeling or the belief that being a good mom means putting ourselves last and everybody else first. But the truth is, the best thing that you can give your children, can give your family, is the fulfilled, most happiest version of you. When you prioritize your well-being, you're not just taking care of yourself, you're teaching your kids a valuable lesson that it is safe for them to do the same. You're showing them what it looks like to live authentically. When I started my journey of rediscovery, I kind of noticed something that as I began to prioritize myself more and do the things that made me super happy or things that I enjoyed once before becoming a mom, my energy shifted. I feel like I became more present. I became more patient. I became more joyful. And my kids don't just see me as mom anymore. They see me as a human. They see me as a person with dreams, with goals, with ambitions. I've literally had my kids tell me that they love seeing me do what I do. They love seeing me be a personal trainer and helping others. They love seeing me at the gym powerlifting and trying new things. They love seeing me socialize and try to make new friends. That was a whole new one for me. And that's when I kind of realized that me taking time for myself and prioritizing myself wasn't just benefiting me, it was inspiring my children. You're identity outside of motherhood is a source of strength. It's what makes you unique and vibrant and alive. It's what makes you human. And when you nurture that part of yourself, you bring this renewed sense of energy and creativity to your family. Think about like all the qualities that your kids admire about you. Do you want them to see a mom who is like constantly overwhelmed and exhausted? Or do you want them to see a mom who is confident, thriving, fulfilled, and passionate about life? Rediscovering yourself isn't about stepping away from your family. It doesn't take away from your family. It's stepping into the fullest version of yourself so you can give them more. It's about recognizing that you're not just a mom, you are a whole multifaceted human with dreams, with talents, with ambitions. And this process is not easy. Like I said, I've gone through it and I'm going through it again, but it's so exhilarating and it's so worth it. And the first step is really giving yourself permission to explore who you are again outside the title of mom. So a couple things that I've done this year is I started playing volleyball again. It was like one of my favorite sports in high school. It brought me so much joy. And just recently, I decided to join the women's rugby team. I'm literally so nervous about it. I reached out to someone and it progressed so quickly. And here I am going to my first practice in a week and I am terrified. But these things brought me so much joy when I was younger that it feels good to me to sink back into those things. It's me trying to connect or reconnect with who I was before becoming a mom. So now that we kind of explored like why this identity shift can happen and why it is important to reconnect to yourself, I want to talk about the how. The process of rediscovery can feel so overwhelming. It really can. It can be very heavy, and it can have like moments where you feel like it's a lot, maybe feel like emotional, but breaking it down into like a little bit more practical steps can make it much more manageable and most importantly, make it feel really empowering. This isn't about completely overhauling your life overnight. That's not sustainable. It's about taking small intentional steps forward to reconnect with the person that you are beneath the title of mom. And the first step in doing this is reflection. Think about the things that you did prior to motherhood. Did you have hobbies that you loved, dreams that you were pursuing, passions that like lit you up? Spend some time like reconnecting with these things. Try doing it through like maybe a journal and jotting these things down. You can maybe use a writing prompt that says, what did I used to love as a child? Or what makes me absolutely lose track of time? This can really help spark inspiration and just allow yourself to reminisce without judgment, because this is your starting point to rediscovering yourself. If you're really unsure of where to begin or you're feeling overwhelmed, you could talk to a close friend or a family member even, someone who knew who you were prior to becoming a mom. Sometimes they can remind us of parts of ourselves that we've forgotten. For instance, like maybe you have a lifelong friend. I know I have two very close lifelong friends that almost I feel like know me better than I know myself. But maybe they can be like, remember how you used to like love writing poetry, or you were always the one organizing these fun trips for us. These memories can be really powerful reminders of who you were outside of your current role. Then once you've reflected on these past passions, the next step is exploration. So maybe you're not the same person you were 10 to 15 years ago, and that's okay. Rediscovering is also about trying new things. It's like an adventure. It's exciting. Sign up for a class that you've never done before, whether it's like an art class or trying a new sport. Get lessons for golf or tennis, or revisit an old sport like I'd experiment with different activities until you find something that excites you, that lights your soul on fire. During this process, just remind yourself that it's not about being good at something. You can be horrible at it. It's literally about just enjoying it. Perfection has no place in the journey of rediscovering who you are. If you're learning to paint, don't worry about creating this absolute masterpiece. Just focus on putting your brush to the paper or to the canvas. If you're trying a new workout, don't compare yourself to others. Maybe they have been there for years and have more experience. Just celebrate the fact that you showed up and that you're trying something new. Scheduling time for yourself is obviously essential. So make sure like on this journey that you're treating this time as non-negotiable. Block out time in your calendar if you have to, just as you would any other important meeting or appointment. Start with something small. Even 5 to 10 minutes can make the world of a difference. and use this time to do something purely for you. Whether it's something as simple as just journaling, meditating, going for a walk every day, as you kind of get into the habit of things, you're going to gradually learn how to carve this time out, and you'll be able to carve out longer stretches of time as it becomes more of a lifestyle or feel second nature. Another really important step in this is making sure that you're creating boundaries. As moms, and the reason why we are in this mess is because we are pulled in a million directions, and it's really easy to let our needs fall to the bottom of the barrel. So setting boundaries means saying no to the things that don't align with your priorities, and your priority should be you. You don't have to do everything on your own. So if you need to, delegate where you can, whether it's to the other parent, a friend, a family member, and make sure that you're prioritizing carving out this time for you. One of the most powerful things that you can do on this journey is making sure that you are connecting with like-minded women, moms, parents, and people that might be on the same journey as you. So you can join like a community of, moms that are on a similar journey. It could be an online forum, a group on social media, a group fitness class, a mom's group. Sharing your experiences with other women who get it could be super validating and motivating, and you can find encouragement and inspiration and a sense of camaraderie that can make this journey feel a lot less lonely, because it can be. In addition to reflection and exploration, it's super helpful, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, to set small, achievable goals. For example, say you always wanted to write. Maybe you start by committing to 10 minutes of journaling every day. If you want to get back into shape again, maybe you start by going for a walk every day, or a walk 3 times a week, and then build momentum. And this will help you build more confidence. Over time, these things will add up to significant change. Another really practical step is reconnecting to your senses. So often in the hustle and bustle of being a mom, it makes it very easy to disconnect from ourselves and the simple pleasures in life. So take some time to, savor your favorite foods, slow down, listen to music that makes you move, spend time in nature. These are more like sensory experiences that ground you in the present moment, and they remind you of all the beauty that's in this world and help you express gratitude more. And lastly, make sure that you are celebrating achievements. Celebrate your progress. Every small step that you take to rediscovery is so worth acknowledging. There's no such thing as a small win, in my opinion. Maybe you signed up for a class and took a chance on something that is so out of your comfort zone. Maybe you spent 10 minutes journaling today. These are victories. Keep a journal or write down a gratitude list to document these moments, because over time you will see how far you've come. Rediscovery isn't a linear process. Like I said earlier, I went through rediscovery as a mom, and now I'm going through it all over again as a single mom and trying to rediscover who I am outside of a 20-year relationship. Some days will feel harder than others. It's a dance of, 3 steps forward, 10 steps back. And what matters is that you continue to show up day after day. This journey is about creating a life that makes you feel fulfilled and authentic, and a life where you can thrive as both a mother and the incredible human that you are. One of the biggest barriers that we face in prioritizing ourselves and, entering this journey of rediscovery is guilt. It's a feeling that almost all of us know very well. It's that moment that we carve out that time for ourselves and prioritize ourselves, or that voice that starts whispering, shouldn't I be spending more time with my kids? Am I being selfish? So let's kind of talk about how to overcome this feeling so you can make this a more empowering journey. First of all, guilt is normal. We all feel it. I'm not going to even say it's a bad thing, because it's really a sign that we care so deeply about our families that we want to do right by them. We want to make sure that they are loved and prioritized too. But the thing is, the feeling of guilt is not a reliable measure of whether we're making the right choices. Often it arises from unrealistic expectations that we place on ourselves. We believe that we have to be everything to everybody all the time, and that's not sustainable, and it's not fair to ourselves or to our families. I work with a lot of moms, and I have a lot of moms who, struggle with prioritizing, their workouts because they think takes away time from their family. But I always say, like, what kind of example do you want to set for your children? Do you want them to grow up thinking that self-sacrifice is the only way to be a good parent? Or do you want them to see that it is completely possible to love your family so fiercely, so deeply, while also loving and prioritizing yourself? By taking care of yourself and prioritizing yourself, you're modeling healthy boundaries and self-respect to your kids. You're teaching your kids that it's okay to value their needs and to prioritize themselves too. So to overcome this feeling of guilt, you need to start reframing how you think about it and how you think about self-care. Instead of viewing it as indulgent or selfish, recognize that it is an essential part of becoming the best version of you that you can be. One of the most important parts of rediscovering yourself is taking the time to celebrate the journey. Too often we focus solely on the destination, forgetting about acknowledging all the steps that we've taken along the way and the victories that we've experienced or progress that we've experienced along the way. Every step that you take, no matter how small, deserves recognition. When was the last time that you truly celebrated yourself? Think back to all the wins you've achieved lately. Did you finally take 10 minutes to read a book that you've been meaning to start? Did you walk 3 times this week? Did you hit 4 workouts this week? These moments might seem insignificant, but they're signs that you're moving in the right direction on your journey of rediscovering who you are. Celebrating yourself doesn't have to be elaborate either. It can literally mean pausing to reflect on your progress and treating yourself to something that makes you feel good. Maybe it's a new journal. Maybe it's sitting in silence with a hot cup of tea and listening to a book or reading a book. Or maybe it's buying yourself a new gym outfit for being consistent at the gym. The key is to intentionally acknowledge the effort that you're putting in and giving yourself credit for all the work that you do. One thing that you can do that is a really empowering exercise is creating a joy journal. So in this journal, you will write down, small wins or moments of happiness that you experience throughout a day. It could be something as simple as trying a new recipe that turned out really well, or, carving out time to listen to music or having a dance party with your family. Over time, this journal will become a beautiful reminder of how far you've come, and you can revisit it when you feel like you haven't made progress. I want to say it again that progress is not linear. The journey to rediscovering who you are outside of the title of mom is not going to be a straight line. There's going to be days where you feel like you're just spiraling backwards, and that is okay. On the tougher days, try to take a moment and reflect on what you've already accomplished, and it can be by viewing your joy journal. You need to remind yourself that growth isn't always visible. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not happening. Creating rituals around milestones, for instance, can feel really incredible and powerful. For example, if you always wanted to get into painting, say, celebrate your first piece by getting it framed or sharing it with someone who is super important to you. If you wanted to start a new fitness routine, treat yourself to a new workout outfit after you stuck with it for, say, a month. These rituals can kind of help you mark progress and make this journey feel a lot more tangible. It's also about celebrating the intangible wins. Maybe you noticed a shift in your mindset, maybe you're feeling more confident and more in tune with your emotions and needs. These internal changes are literally just as significant, if not more significant, than the external accomplishments and these deserve to be honored. Celebrating yourself isn't selfish, it's not boasting, it's necessary. By acknowledging the progress that you make, you're reinforcing the belief that your effort matters and that you're worthy of joy and you're worthy of fulfillment and you're worthy of prioritizing yourself. This celebration isn't just for you, it's for the people around you. When you thrive, your family and your loved ones thrive, and they benefit from your energy and positivity. I want to leave you with one final thought before we wrap up this episode. Rediscovering your identity is not a luxury. It's a necessity. You have to do this, or you're going to feel lost. You are so much more than a mom, a partner, or a caregiver. You're a vibrant, multifaceted individual with passions, dreams, goals, and a very unique purpose. So reconnecting with yourself is about embracing all of these pieces of you and creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. This journey is not going to happen overnight, and that's okay. It's not a race. It's not about rushing to some arbitrary finish line. It's about learning, growing, and celebrating along the way. Start small, take the first step, and really reflect on what brings you joy. What makes you happy? Explore new activities, carve out time for yourself, and remember that every effort that you take is one step forward to a richer and more fulfilling life. You got to let go of the guilt that tells you that prioritizing yourself is wrong. Instead, you need to embrace the truth that when you take care of yourself, you're better able to care for the people close to you. And by modeling self-love, self-acceptance, and balance, you're teaching your children an invaluable lesson about what it means to live fully and authentically. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Strong as a Mother. I really hope that you feel inspired to take this first step towards self-discovery. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with another parent or mom who needs to hear it. Always remember that you are strong. You're more capable than you think that you are, and you're so much more than you realize. Until next time, stay kind to yourself and remember you're strong as a mother.